knowledge of you, and what are you willing to expose for their success? And I think that that's really important, how to be human. One of the things I do is I always embed, I have a Pinterest board that just says, hello, I'm Karen Horsey, and it's just got links of, I use Pinterest in the classroom because it's a curation site. Hey, librarian. And so I use it as a curation site in a project. So at the beginning, I send them this Pinterest link, and it's just all the stuff about me. So.
Do you create instructor pages, like welcome, like meet the instructor on Canvas? I think that's a great way to personalize, yourself. Make a fun video, have personal photos. I did a little video with quizzing in it, find the fib, and it was, I think, 4 or 5 different facts about me. One of them is false, the rest are true. And it's something I do in my seated classes. I've always tried to figure out how could I make this work for online. So it's just a fun little thing to watch, and then it has quizzing in it, and I did that through Camtasia. So they can participate and see if they can get it right.
Yeah, accept emoticons.
Oh yeah.
I personally believe that I will not be capitalized within the next 10 years, but that's just, just give up. Just give it up. Let the I be little.
I will say, you can tell if you are human to your students if they ask you questions. Karen and I, Melissa, have all had long chats this semester about how we are getting bombarded with emails and texts and messages from students constantly, because there's no longer that barrier of, oh, my teacher's a nebulous cloud. It's, oh, my teacher stepped me down before, you just gotta keep a little puppy. I'll fire away a question.
My pregnant student had a gender reveal party last week, and that's why as soon as she got into Zoom, that's the first thing she wanted. I mean, my Zoom class has 7, 8 to 10 students in it, and so that's the first thing she's saying. And everybody had already Zoomed before, so they were like, "So what's the baby?"
Right. And then we'll talk about, 3 of us have very specific things that we're doing this semester, and one of the local app, but this is kind of what we'll talk about the next segment or so. First, do you want to go first?
I can start.
Yeah.
So I teach math, and I've gone through the curriculum, and I create my own lessons with examples so they can print the lessons, and then I record videos solving all the problems. So they get the same examples and teaching that my seated classes get. And this started years ago when I was teaching high school, and I had a lot of students who had an accommodation of having teacher-provided notes. So I just started typing them, making them available. So that's helpful for math students, because sometimes the textbook videos don't always hit the mark as well as they'd like. Did a video response to all the introduction posts. I do weekly announcements with videos sometimes, so sometimes it's just me kind of recapping everything, and that just lets them see me once again, and helps you seem more approachable. I do frequent personal progress checks throughout the course, and I use remind texting, hey, how are you? You didn't turn in the assignment, is everything okay? So it's very personal, it's not formal like an email. I follow it up with email as well, but the texting is a nice way to communicate, and they will respond to the text, and they will not respond to the email. Positive emails are sent now to students, and I do live office hours and Zoom. And with the texting app and with getting email on the phone, I'm more approachable when I want to be. So I might be home cooking dinner, stuff is going on, check the phone, I get a message from a student, just a quick question. I can respond to that. Now I go to bed pretty early sometimes, and so I like that on Remind. You can put office hours on there, so you can respond if you want to, but it will give them a message. This is outside of their office hours. They might not be able to get back to you yet. So yeah, I try to be approachable and available.
All right, so I am doing the live micro lectures, I'm teaching English 100 and English 101 online. English 100 is the support class that these students have identified through the guided self-placement that they need additional support. So those students, it's mandatory that they attend the live micro sessions. And I have them very specifically planned out through the entire 16 weeks. You know, so last week was thesis statements. And that's what I will be giving a micro lecture on. The 101 students do not have to attend, but they're invited. And I've had a number of them that go ahead and show up to every, they're not getting points for it, but it's just that extra instruction. I never say anything in a micro lecture that isn't typed somewhere in the content of the course on that very screen that they're at. But for some reason, me saying it and they ask questions, that helps. As I move forward, there'll be a group project starting in week 12 to week 16, and all the students will be working together. I'm going to have them set up their own Zoom sessions so that as a group they can interact with each other, and that's worked out really well. So, I mean, they sometimes have done that now already because we did a buddy project and some of them got on together to talk. I use Facebook groups. I've been using Facebook groups for some time. I start them out as open groups. All the students add on, and then I close them by week 4 so that they're private groups. I let students use an anonymous name. They don't have to stay in it, but I encourage them to, and that way they can ask each other questions. During primary research, which we finished up, where they're doing interviews and surveys, they used Facebook group a lot to ask each other questions on the research topic that they were working on.
And it's also super helpful whenever Canvas freaks out.
Oh, very, very helpful. I mean, that's the thing. I've been using it, you know, for some time, so Blackboard would go down, but everybody's on Facebook, and they're immediately, hey, I can't get my paper turned in, so that works really well. Flipgrid Reflections. Flipgrid is a site that students can post videos to. I'm doing it as a reflection part of every one of my units. So I have 4 major projects, and I kind of think of it as a decompression site. You know, after they finish, they've been working on this for 4 weeks. They want to say something about it beyond what they wrote in the paper. And so that's what this week I'm getting Flipgrid Reflections, and they're posting them. They can see what each other said, and they talk about what they learned from their people group, or what the research, what was surprising, and what assignment they hated the most. I think it's really important to be flexible with assignments and know that if the students aren't like, if you have a bunch of them that, you know, one of these assignments is just not working, maybe you should revisit that assignment and see if there's some other way you could present this information. Student-driven feedback is revolutionary. You can talk about that? I stole it from Stephanie. Steal a lot of stuff.
I'm using it as well. Yeah.
I'm not editing my students' work. What? Yeah, I'm not going in and doing line editing on writing. What I'm doing is I fill out the rubric. I have 3 levels of feedback that's student-driven. The first level is I filled out rubric. I fill out the rubric and I just go through check right away. I send it back to them. Then if they are displeased with one part of the rubric grade or the overall grade, they contact me, and then I go back with annotations about this was a problem, this was a problem. And then the 3rd level of feedback is actually a Zoom meeting or a face-to-face meeting over whatever was giving them problems in the writing assignment. So the student themselves actually drive how much feedback they want, instead of me spending so much time going through and, you know, correcting every missed comma. Intrusive invention. I meant intervention. But it is inventive, this idea of every time a student misses something, contacting them. Okay, guys, it's tons of work. I'm telling you, I'm not sure it's sustainable, but I'm doing it completely this semester. I'm throwing myself into it. One of the things I've noticed is, you know those students that like to be invisible? They just show up, they never do anything, but they're just hanging around. I've been being intrusive with them, and I've noticed that they're dropping. And they always give me, you know, most often they say, you know, thank you for your concern, and I just don't think I've got too many hours, da-da-da-da, whatever the reason is. So in a way, I think that instead, they're dropping earlier, and I feel like that's beneficial for them because they recognize this isn't going to work, instead of waiting around to midterm and all of a sudden, do you have any extra work, or are there any bonus points, or, you know?
Do you feel like Canvas, it's easier to make those contacts? Because like I just go to the grade book now, message students who didn't submit.
Yes.
Oh, wow, it used to be so labor intensive, and
Yes.
now it's in seconds, send it out. Now, then I sometimes also text them, that takes more time, but.
I'm keeping track
That's
of everybody.
really
So,
helpful.
like every week, who I've, yeah, so then I see how many that I have intruded on. And then maybe that's, I mean, I think it's our responsibility to help the online students be a better student. So, and they need to recognize the reality of what college is. You know, it's difficult for the online student because many of them have jobs, they have children, and they're trying to just, you know, jam some education in. And they need to recognize how much time it takes to actually go to school.
Well, that shows your presence to the students as well, because they know you're watching.
They do.
They know you care about that one
Right.
assignment, so I think it's important.
Okay, Steph.
Okay, for me, I do lecture videos, but I post them on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and search classical conditioning, you probably will find my lecture video on YouTube. So students anywhere can watch them, even if they drop my class and take it again next semester, they can still go out and find my videos somewhere. So it will make sense to somebody else. I post most of my stuff on YouTube, even my little announcements that I do, you know, the weekly announcements. I don't do text-based announcements anymore. I do video announcements. So I actually, I'm either sitting at home or I'm sitting in my office. It just depends when I'm making it. But I'll do a video announcement instead of typing it out. And then I'll post it to YouTube and embed it or send a link through Remind, any of those ways. Because again, I'm wanting to make myself a human. So I want you to see my face, see who I am. And then I'm also using student-driven feedback. And so I'm done grading on Mondays, and then I spend the rest of my week focused on the student interactions and student interventions. What do you need from me to help you be successful in this class? And I sent out my text today, and I've already gotten a bunch of texts back that, oh, thank you, and some excuses, but, mostly, oh, thank you, I'll try to do better next time, and maybe we can meet to talk about it. Okay. Yeah, that's been really good. I didn't mention my live office hours. I do have that. I'm trying to rework my timing as far as when I have them. The lunch hour is working great, so I may have to add that in on Mondays and Fridays as a lunch hour option, but also exploring other time
That
frames.
7 a.m., I'm just always,
You get people at 7 a.m.?
oh yeah, it's before they're going to work. They all have to go, and a lot of them, they've just showered, there's like wet heads, and they've been doing their homework, and they jump in. We have a 15 to 30 minute Zoom session, and then we go on to work. I did have a husband walking around in his underwear. The wife was sitting there at the table and wet head drinking coffee, and then you see this guy walking across. He's got on a t-shirt, boxers, he gets himself some coffee, and he walks over to her. He's like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "This is my class." And he goes all the way. So, yeah, that was unexpected, and I didn't even address it. I didn't know what to do, so I said that.
Well, thank God I caught it. I was doing a live session and had my daughter out in the shower running with no clothes.
Oh, yes.
I just hit her. I was like, no.
But if you get up our Zoom session,
Shouldn't have.
After 40 minutes.
40 minutes, it goes away.
She's got the pro account. It's supposed to
It
shift
doesn't
over.
matter.
We know.
With that.
We know
We
this.
know this.
We've been dealing with this.
Shuts down my office hour at 40 minutes if I don't
Yeah.
wiggle the mouse or
That's
something.
me too. I have to
Oh,
do it
no,
so quick.
it's already gone, no.
We're done.
They'll be right. Yes.
That makes me so sad.
Was it recorded?
Yeah.
It wasn't?
Oh, was it?
But Marcia's got the camera.
Also, one of the things,
No.
the before school begins stuff. I had never used Zoom, of course, I think most of us hadn't. I came in on a Saturday before classes were beginning. You know, I hadn't showered, my hair is in top knot, and I'm in my office. I'm like, I'll see if I can figure out how the Zoom works. So I turn it on, and I'm really wondering about it. All of a sudden, boom, there's a space, and it's a girl. She's like, are you in this class?
Hey, Tom, you're back.
I'm like, well,
Yeah.
actually, I'm
Sorry.
a
What
teacher.
happened? It said meeting needed by the host.
Yes, it goes idle after 40 minutes.
Sorry.
Sorry,
That's okay.
sorry. We thought with the pro cam it wouldn't do that. It does. Unfortunately.
Huh?
Okay, questions?
I don't know how to get this back though. Oh my gosh. It's okay. I can see Tom and I can see we're in a meeting, but I see nothing else.
I don't see you guys, but
Oh, no.
I can hear you though.
Well, that's what's important.
Oh, here's,
This is just talking to Vivian.
okay.
Uh,
Okay, so questions from any of you guys, or anything cool you're doing that you want to share?
Hmm. I was interested in the, I've done the video, the online office hours, and I used to do them on Tuesday night and Saturday morning, but not real happy with the way they turned out. So I think maybe one evening during the week.
There you are.
one-
Sorry, Tom.
Why?
Sorry.
Why are you not happy? What's going on?
The attendance is really spotty. Sometimes I'll have a bunch and sometimes I'll have none.
So,
When I
Tom,
have people there, it goes pretty well. It's usually just the people that are, it's just the same people.
Do you have it themed this
I'm
week?
sorry?
A themed office hour. This week, we're going to, in my office hour, I'll be discussing, if you have questions about blank, come to this office hour.
Oh, yeah, I tell them that. That's right. We try to go over that week's assignment.
so Tom, what I've been doing, I've been playing off the principle of scarcity. So it's, if you make students think that everybody else is doing it, they will do it too, right? So what I've made my students do is I make them sign up for a time slot to visit in my office hours. And I say, oh, there's only 2 available left. You better come in and get these slots, And there's more than that. I mean, there's obviously more than that, right? But they don't need to know that.
If you use scheduler in the calendar in Canvas, then the students can go in and they can pick time slots. That's one of the things I'm doing. Is scheduler allows so many students in. I originally tried it with 12 students. 12 students were too many in a Zoom session. I couldn't tell who was talking, and it was not
How
good.
many do you?
I've got it at 8.
8, okay.
8 is working well. 5 is better.
I have mine set up for 2 students in 15-minute blocks. And do they have to sign up for it? No, they don't. Do they have to sign up and stay within their block? No, they don't. But by setting it up that way and making it appear as though there is scarce resources, it makes them want it. It makes them want
So
to.
you don't have open office hours, you have scheduled office hours.
It's open, but I make them think it's scheduled. Does that make sense?
I got you. Okay.
She's
I'm
a
with you.
psychology.
Go on, I make them-
Sounds spoken like a true psychologist. There you go.
So yes, and it works out great. I mean, I had 8 show up last week. Just, not even on some of them were on their scheduled time slot they signed up for, but most of them weren't. But they thought, oh, maybe she has a cancellation, and I've even said that in my texts. Dr. Moore gets my texts, hey, I had some cancellations after 1 o'clock, you better show up for your office hours. And they'll pop on at 1 o'clock. Oh, yeah, I'm so glad. Okay,
Okay.
I'm glad you're here.
We're also using Zoom as the proctored event with, So students will come to a Zoom session, they show me their photo ID, and that is the recognition they need to have completed their proctored event criteria.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yep, same
How
here.
about
That gets them online, doesn't it?
It does, actually. They prefer to do that than have to come in to the testing center, and I agree.
Now, are all the videos that you use, do you have them captioned?
Yes, I captioned them though.
Yes. All my YouTube videos are captioned by YouTube.
Flipgrid makes its own, it'll automatically caption what you say.
Yeah, I know, but it's not real accurate.